Get real, support Team Teal. Get behind the Team Teal and the awareness for ovarian cancer and what it does. Ladies of harness racing have been wearing teal pants for the month of February and halfway through March. Joined by Miss Dendeigh Wade. Firstly, Dendeigh, welcome to Campbell's Comments.
Thank you for having me.
I like bringing different stories, if you like, and different people around, and I try to find something that other people haven't seen. It's been Media Street for you this week. You're on Channel 9 News and all.
It's been a little bit full on, and we've only kind of really won a couple of races in the country. I mean, not like we've won a Miracle Mile or anything, but it sort of feels like that. We're on cloud nine at the moment.
So that part, well, we'll stay with that for a minute. That must be great, though. You said that you haven't won a Miracle Mile, but it must be great that mainstream news are actually ringing you guys to do a story about the weekend that you had, and we're going to touch on in that weekend. But that must be just very rewarding for you to know that Channel 9 and other people are sitting back and saying, well, here's a great story, let's promote it.
Yeah, I think it's great. It's great for us and great for the industry that sort of, you know, we're not a headline act, we're not a major name, you know, we're going to aim to be a major name in the industry one day, hopefully, and to just get the recognition we are at the moment. And this past week, what is brought to us has been fabulous. I mean, I personally, I'm not great on camera. I always mumble my words and get a bit mixed up. Michael's sort of more the professional one when it comes to all that stuff, but you know, I'm enjoying it.
You are so much easier on the eye, and you're so natural. So you don't worry about mumbling words. Anyone has to worry about mumbling words is me. I can get more words tongue-tied and twisted than anyone, so don't even worry about it. You just keep doing the job you're doing. 4 winners for the month of February. No, wasn't actually, but just outside the month of February, but 4 months for the Team Teal and Teal awareness going forward is a great effort in itself. But just the weekend that you guys have just had, it's been full of a lot of different roller coasters and emotions, I would imagine, starting off at Boort on Sunday.
I think the one thing that just keeps coming back is just sort of how ecstatic and excited we are. One, to notch up a couple of winners as quickly as we have over the past few days, but just Stuart's son with all he's been through, obviously breaking his back leg, and it's sort of always, it's concerning enough rehabilitating them back from that. They've got to go through an operation and everything, and just getting back to the racetrack, we were thrilled. And his 2 runs leading up to Boort, we were wrapped with. I thought they were huge runs without any luck, and just sort of looking after him a little bit as well. And we went into Boort positive. We thought if they went super crazy, he might run home over the top of them, but we were wary of how hard it is to come from wide at Boort. Then they split the field, and I thought, you know, we'll definitely run a place here for sure if they can run along a little. And then when the race was going, I'm like, it's probably not going fast enough. But when I pulled out and asked him to go, he just kept finding, and he actually made ground up on the bend, which is unusual because he can hit a knee pretty good, but it doesn't seem to stop him. You put spreaders on him or something, and it pulls him up, but you leave everything off him, and he's happy to just keep whacking it and keep whacking away. So it was brilliant.
He's a funny horse, isn't he? Because Michael put out a post before he started racing back that it's great to have one of his favourites back. He's a beautiful looking horse. He's been well fancied in the market prior to the injury that he had and didn't deliver. He probably didn't live up quite to the expectations that you guys were hoping for. But you both love him. Michael said it pre-race, and you showed it in this photo, Denby, and I'm going to put this photo up that was taken. I'll put it up a couple of times, but it was taken post-race by Desiree Petard from South Combe FH. Anyone wanting to get a photo, by all means look her up. But that photo was not staged in any way. You actually didn't realise she was there, did you?
No, I was actually talking to Kieran Eels, and he was taking a few photos of us, walking around, holding him and, posing for the photos. And that was just sort of the first moment I got to turn him around back in his stall. I hadn't really had a chance to give him a little cuddle and just tell him how good he did and, make him feel special, because he is very special. And then, it pops up later on, and I'm thinking, that is awesome as far as photos go. I'm like, you don't think about those moments that pass, and you don't often get them on camera. So it's nice to have something there to just sort of treasure. for even long after he's gone.
Can you explain, though, the sort of horse that he is? Why, as I said, he hadn't won a race. You paid a little bit of money for him from New Zealand. Unfortunately, then he gets an injury. Can you explain why is this horse that strikes both of you guys' attention?
He's just a character. He has got everything you sort of want for in a horse. He has an attitude. By all means, we've had a couple of arguments over the days. If we're asking him to do something and he's unhappy about that, he'll let you know that he's unhappy about it. But just from day dot, he's been such a lad. Obviously, he's strikingly handsome, so I've got a bit of a thing for horses with a lot of bling bling and pretty ones. I've normally got pretty boring coloured ones, so it's nice to have someone a bit flashy in the stable. He's just been, obviously, his first couple of starts. We're really happy with his very first run. We thought that was pretty big for where he was at. And then his next one, we put a line through. It just didn't work out. And then the last one, we were disappointed with. And then obviously a couple of days later, the result of the fractured intestine. And it sort of made us wonder if he maybe had it a little longer than what we maybe knew about, because they always sort of say that, especially the standardbreds, they're pretty hardy. They take a while to show up anything major sometimes. But just on his work at home, you just drive him and you'd think, wow, he's a nice horse. He's probably not going to be a world beater by any means, but he's nice to work at home. For the most part, he's beautiful to do anything with. And yeah, he's got his quirks. He keeps you entertained. Every day's a different day with him. There was, I think, early on in his work, there were some council workers doing some work on the drains at the tracks, and Michael's gone out to jogging one day, and he's walked past them, going out to the track, no worries at all, and then coming back in, he's decided, oh, hang on, they weren't there before, which they were, and he flipped the lid, and Michael couldn't get him back into the stables. He's actually had to steer him into Greg Norman's place because he wouldn't turn into our stables. He's ungeared him in Greg Norman's stables, walked him back off the halter, and he didn't bat an eyelid at them. So he is a quirky, funny bugger. but he's just cool to have around.
I think that's one of the things we lose a lot in harness racing, and sometimes people reporting, because they want to know, when's he racing next, can he win, and all the rest. That probably doesn't really matter you and Michael that much. It might worry Steve a little bit, but I don't think it'd overly worry him either, because I think when people have a soft spot for a horse, they really do like it, don't they?
I think just having him at the races is great, especially Stevie. Obviously everybody enjoys their winners, but he just loves having his runners go around, owning the horses, being there in the moment with them. Which he did miss his race on Sunday, which that'll be nearly one of the first. I can say he virtually rocks up to every race meeting, whether it's our horse or with Aaron. And he also, when he bought him, he said, to help us out a little bit, if we can get a syndicate going that want to take a share in him, which that's also another reason why he's a bit special. He's probably our first horse that we have quite a large syndicate in, with the You Can Do It Son syndicate, organised by Kelly and Darren Aitken. So, we've got quite a few people in there that have either never been involved with the racehorse or never had a winner. So there was quite a few photos ordered after his win on Sunday as well, and they're the same. They're all in him for the social meetup. Again, they couldn't make it to Boort on Sunday, but his other runs, majority of them have turned up to the racetrack. Just knowing that, we sort of said every time that because he hasn't had many runs, he'll get better after this run, and we'll be looking to the future, and he'll go a lot better. But they're just happy to come out to the social gathering, watch their horse, hopefully cheer him home, and then they hang around for ages, and then everybody goes home happy. So.
Stevie Blacker, I know he was definitely at last year's Cup meeting. I think even the year before I've been MC at the last couple, and I think he's had a winner at all of those. So it's a wonder he didn't come, because he does know about the trophies you can get on track day and all the rest. It is actually a wonder that he wasn't on track. And I'm tipping he was probably the first one on the phone, because he's a very emotional man. He'll actually contact me after this, because there'll be something that I haven't said or all the rest, and he'll point it out to me. But I think that's key to Steve Blacker, and that's exactly who he is. I mean, he's a very passionate harness person and loves spreading the good stories and loves providing a lot of people. He's given you guys a good backing, hasn't he?
Yeah, we can't thank him enough, really. He's probably really given us our start. Like, we sort of, when we were at Ararat, you'd say we were only sort of a couple of hobbyists, both working full-time at other places. Obviously, we enjoyed some success with King Denny and Ain't That Right Macca and a couple of other paces and things, a few winners. And the goal was always, obviously the dream always was eventually move out on our own and have a go at making this professional. And then it wasn't really till he come along and he sort of produced us with Mary Shadow, who she's taken us on a ride. And, just after her has come another couple. So, like, he's always been there to support us. And when the talk sort of first come about possibly moving to Charlton, because we started to get a couple of phone calls to see if we'd take some other horses, which was all going well, we sort of called Stevie first and said, if we move to Charlton, you're still going to back us, have a horse with us here and there, and just to make sure you've got a little bit of someone standing behind you, because you're sort of all the big stables you need someone there that you can sort of rely on that's going to keep sending a horse or two. And he was like, yeah, go for it 100%, and was probably one of the first to really get on board and go, yep, go, have a go, jump, now's the time to try it.
Are you glad you done it?
Oh, most definitely. I think it wasn't a great day at Albans Park when I sort of said to Kezie and Grant that I'll be moving to Charlton soon. I think we're all a bit sad because I've loved working there over the years. And I think I sort of stress a lot more than what Michael does. He's pretty happy-go-lucky. He's sort of, let's just go try it. I'm a bit like, oh, but what if this, what if that? But now that I'm here and we're sort of really starting to get into a good routine, working 18, I think it is, quite a few young ones, so the days can be pretty long by the time you get all them in the cart, but it's been brilliant. So far, I wouldn't change it for anything.
I'll go to Shepparton. I'll come back and ask a couple of questions about Michael in a sec. But so Shepparton was when was it? Tuesday night, I think it was. You started off, I reckon, would nearly have been a surprise winner, not so much in the market, but it was quite an interesting run. Captain Bling, I watched the replay. 500 from home, you're going to run 300 metres last, if not further. I don't even know if you're going to complete the course, to winning almost untouched. It was a peculiar little run, but a ripper run, and great to win a race for a terrific bloke and a guy that backs a lot of people in the country as well and gives a few people a chance in John Kennedy.
Yeah, we sort of went in, like, his trial was really nice, and his work at home here has been nice. He doesn't work like a real superstar, but we sort of said to John that we quite like this little fella. Like, he really wants to do it. I think that's his biggest win. But he's a little bit weird. He gets steering in a little bit, and you can't. So far, he's been really safe in all his work. Sometimes he hangs in a little bit, that he feels like if you were to sort of tell him off and straighten him up, he might break or do something wrong. So that's what he sort of did in the race. Like, quickened. He got a little bit panicked with the horse moving up outside of him. So I just sort of had to nurse him, and I thought, oh, well, come on, we want to catch back up, at least finish on the back of him. And then I sort of caught up that fast on the bend. I'm thinking, oh, wow, I've got to pull out and have a go. Pulled out, and he just launched off the bend. Kind of switched off a little bit by himself, but you could just feel him as the other horse got closer. You could just feel him lift again, like, oh, someone's coming. I've got to keep going. So that was a great feeling. And to win first up with a first starter, like, that's on the bucket list. So I can say we can tick that one off now. And it went differently to how we thought. We thought maybe hold up behind Cody's colt, sit on its back. He might get away with it too easily. And if we run second, I think he's done a mighty job if he sort of goes with it, because it's shown a bit of promise in its first couple of starts. And, yeah, they hummed off the gate. I thought he came out fairly nice for his first start, and that they just sort of left us behind. And, I suppose the small field always helps your chances a little bit. But it was quite good. And I've always said he's just a little professional, just with whatever you do. He's been doing it for 100 years. And all the false starts probably showed that. I was getting a little concerned with how long we had to keep following the mobile, and then we had to go back and circle again. And he was just getting on his toes a little. Nothing silly, but I'm thinking, oh, don't tell me we've gone through all this false start and you're going to get just too fired up at the start and break or do something wrong. He did, which was really good.
He did a terrific job, and he was really good. You didn't have to wait long for one of the better bred horses, probably to go around at Shepparton that night. A few people might get a shock. And it's got a cast of thousands as far as the owners, McNulty's, Kirkwoods, even the Sharps. Great group of people involved behind him, but a very, very tricky little horse in Sporting Model, and I say he, but she, Sporting Model.
Yep.
She got sent to you, and I know the story behind it, but I'll let you tell it. But she must have been a pretty satisfying win as well on the night.
Very. She got sent to us. Shawnee was working her up. I suppose you start at the beginning. She's very lucky to be alive. She got colic. She's missing half her bow. She had to go through surgery and everything, and flogs the knee as good as any horse and gets sick of doing it. So I think it was Noel that first suggested to Sean after a little while of trying, just because she sort of felt like she had a little bit of something there, but she just felt that knee going into the bends and pull up. And he said, well, why don't you send her to Mick and see if he can't fiddle around with her a little bit and try some different things with her feet and see how she goes. And we were pretty happy with most of her starts for her first prep. And then after, she sort of seemed like she was getting a little bit sick of it, which then we found out that she had been in work for a bit over 12 months. So I thought she probably done a good job to keep punching along as long as she has. And she's a big, big mare, so she's done a lot of growing while she's out. And when she come back in, Swan Hill, we always knew she was going to need the run. She was a bit fast, and she'd only been doing a bit of gallop work. We were just waiting for the straight track here to finish up, because we said once it gets up and going, we'll be able to get her off the bends altogether, try and get her confidence up so that she sort of wants to do it, because she's a little bit funny. You can't sort of up too much of her. You've got to sort of try and convince her that it's her idea to go forward and go fast. So heading into Shepparton, her work seemed really good. She looked terrific. Like, she's a really nice looking mare. We weren't sure how she was going to go, because it's the first lot of work we were really doing up the straight track there, so we didn't really have anything to compare it to with how we work them. Michael spoke to a few people, and the most common theme was just be careful you don't overwork them. So, like, they reckon you can flatten them pretty easily up the straight track, obviously, because they can go a fair bit faster for a fair bit longer. So we're mindful of that. So heading into Shepparton, we thought she's looking really fit. She looked ready to run a race. And we took the head check off her for the first time as well, which I was a bit concerned, because she used to hit that knee and go a little bit rough. So I'm thinking, oh, please don't do that on the first corner or the last corner. And it was just a matter of how she's going to go. And to my surprise, I tried to follow out one of the favourites down the back there, and he left us for dead, and we got sort of left stranded, got shoved a bit wider on the bend, and then she made up a heap of ground on the bend, which she never does. She normally hits that bend and pulls up. She drops her head and just kept whacking away. You can probably see me up the straight. Can't really hit her. You've kind of just got to yell at her and hope that she keeps her nose in front of the other horse, which she actually did really well. I was sort of like, off that run, she might win another one.
So you've had 3 winners in 3 days. Yeah, that's right, actually. I've worked that part out right in my head, and then I'm like, hang on. But yeah, it is 3 winners in 3 days. All 3 of them had a good little tale to tell, really. Like, you got one coming back from injury, a young colt having its first, or gelding having its first start, and a horse that's been, in a good stable, probably nearly should be dead, and the likes, and she's come back and won. Harness racing is a great sport, isn't it? People don't realise how much fun you can actually have in harness racing, I think, sometimes. Would you agree?
Oh, most definitely. You can overcome so much with a bit of patience, and obviously you just keep working hard to what you want. You'll get there one day. It's sort of your long days, late nights, they all equate. They mean nothing this week. Like, we pinged out of bed every morning, and the days have been pretty casual still, but it's just great. You kind of sometimes you forget how tired you are when you get these good runs. And I used to complain. I was like, why can't someone just send us a fast horse that rocks up and just wins without any issues or back stories or troubles? But then at the end of the day, you thought you do get a little bit more satisfaction out of these runs, that they might have been the underdog, or they might not, they shouldn't be where they are, and they've rocked up and they've produced the goods. So it's definitely rewarding.
I don't want you to go into too much detail, because with the thanks of Kelly Partners, have a look at me go, sponsors, got to look after me sponsors, I'm coming to do a stable chat possibly middle to late next week with the guys there at Charlton, Joey Thompson the model extraordinaire, fashionista, Joey Thompson. But we'll be catching up with yourself and Greg Norman, and there's another stable about to start up as well. But how has Charlton been? Like, have you enjoyed coming to a town, and a town that, for mine, especially with the harness racing, they're really ramping it up social media-wise and having a bit of fun, aren't they?
Oh, I think Joey sort of single-handedly sold us the first time we ever met him. We left, and I'm like, the passion that man has for this sport and where he wants to take the Charlton Club is just, it's contagious. Like, it really just gets you ramped up to think, yeah, this is brilliant. This, we can do this. This is going to be terrific. And the support of everybody around here, and the welcoming of everybody around here has been unbelievable. Like, they were also helpful moving in, and Greg's been great, our neighbour and all that. So he's been terrific along the way. He's always, some days I reckon he can tell when we're a little bit down in the dumps, and he's always telling us, you'll be right, just ride it out. Tomorrow's another day. It'll get better. It always changes. And then just the way everybody, when anyone gets a winner here, it's brilliant in the way that everyone celebrates it as their own. So it's, everyone rocks up to a race, gets a winner, and yeah, Charlton's got a winner, and it's fantastic because you get to the end of the night after Boort the other night, we get a message, going around to the pub for some drinks. So yeah, why not? Get home, feed up, go around to the pub for some drinks and enjoy it. And being in the shadow of a celebrity fashion model as well, it's has perks.
You got to be careful throwing too many rocks. He might see some of these. It is on Facebook. He reckons he doesn't do Facebook. Actually, Charlton, I don't know if people are aware, Dixie actually won Best Presented Strapper too at Boort the other day as well. So there's a little bonus win there as well. So she actually had a winner that a few people may not be aware of at Boort the other day as well.
Oh, well, I certainly hadn't heard about that one. I think the limelight of Joey might have been taken over it, so we'll have to pump that one up a bit more, I think. I'll get on to Andrea about that.
It may not be common knowledge. It might have just become common knowledge, but I do know she definitely did won the Best Presented, which is great. He's a terrific bloke, Greg Norman. He'll share this. I've got no doubt he'll share this on Facebook, and he'll put something. He shared your news story. I think that's what harness racing's about, and that's what I really, really love. Team Teal, it's such a great cause, and it does so much for getting ladies out there. You must be super proud when you do win one race wearing the Teal pants, but to cap off the weekend that you've not only had a great weekend for yourself and for harness racing and all your owners, but Team Teal bounces up into the limelight because you've put Team Teal on Channel 9 as well today. So it's such a great thing to be a part of, isn't it?
It certainly is. I think you hear all the girls say, obviously it's great to get a winner, but it just means that little bit more, or a lot more really, when you get it this time of year. And I remember the first couple of years I sort of kicked off. I was pretty slow. I didn't get any winners the first year, and I probably only got one win the second year. And you're like, if you sort of end up praying, you're like, if I'm going to get a winner a year, can I at least just get one through the Team Teal? And I kicked off well on the first day with Mary's Shadow, and then it went a bit quiet, and we had all these new ones having a start, and I'm just hoping, I'm like, I wonder if I can get into the races before the end of Teal, just so we can try and boost the tally up a little bit more. And it's always a great time of year, and it does get people talking. Especially, I remember working at the RSL, and you'd have the old blokes sitting in the bar there watching the races, and a lot of them knew that I was a driver, and they, what's with the green pants? And you'd be like, there's a Teal pants, and you go on and explain it. And it just sort of spreads. So you just sort of know that if you can get people talking like that from the bar at the RSL or anywhere, they just start asking questions, and hopefully it might be just keep an eye on yourself, look after yourself, your mental health and your physical health. Like, you just hope that it's doing its job, and I think it certainly is with Team Teal. They do a fantastic job every year.
Absolutely. Get real, support Team Teal, Duncan, McPherson. And just remember that the Team Teal is there to raise awareness for ovarian cancer, which is a insidious disease, horrible disease in itself. Denbeigh, well done. Great weekend. Great to catch up with you. I think I've had to play about fourth fiddle. I think you've had Kieran Isles there already. She's just hung up on me. She hasn't. She's got a phone call coming through at the same time. Kills you, and it was probably Mick as well, so we don't worry too much about him.
No, he knows I ignore him all the time.
Channel 9 as well. I think I'm about third or fourth fiddle, but I just appreciate you spending a bit of time with me and spreading the word. Good luck to you guys. As I said, I'll be there next week, so watch for Campbell's comments for the next stable chat. We'll be catching up with Mick and Denbeigh, Greg Norman, and the crew, everyone there at Charlton, just to promote it. And don't forget, they've also got their Charlton Pacing Cup coming up on the 14th of March, and they lost it last year. They were the first club to step aside with COVID, so they actually lost their cup. Everything was planned, everything was catered for, and they actually had to pull the pin. So good luck to them. Hopefully this year's going to be a bumper year.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I think it sounds like it's going to go off quite well. Joey was telling me today there's quite a few out-of-towners booked into the motels already. So hopefully it'll be a big, exciting day. They've got terrific facilities there. The place looks awesome. So I think it should be a great day.
There is fashions on the field. You better make sure Joe's aware you can't wear the same outfit twice. So he'll have to get the whole new ensemble for when he walks down the fashions on the field this time.
I think that was a bit of a joke the other day that is the president of the Charlton Club allowed to enter? There's a bit of a conflict of interest, and I think it might have been Leon that said, looks like he'll have to resign presidency just so he can keep up his tally and the stations on the field.
Well done to him. Keep going, Dale. Thank you very much for spending a little bit of time for me, and congratulations on a great week. And you guys keep training the winners. It's great to have young couples in the industry. One very quick thing. Has he ever got down on the knee, Mr. Gadsden?
Nah, he hasn't yet. I think we're coming up 11 years, but you sort of, why ruin a good friendship? Is one thing. Or he sort of just keeps saying, we're just testing the waters still. We're not sure if it's a good fit yet.
Denbeigh Wade, he's crazy if he lets you go. Denbeigh Wade, thank you so much for joining me. Well done for such a great week. And, I look forward to catching up with you very, very shortly in the near future.
No worries. Thanks, Paulie.